recorded or is this live?
It's going recorded right now. Look who I got on the show, guys. A friend of mine that goes way back. I want to say West Texas when he was coaching out there at the small little school out there. But I met him at SFA. Mark Kellogg, man. Welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
I'm doing great. I still call you coach. So we go back to the days where you were coaching it up in Texas Elite. And I probably was on my way from West Texas to SFA and recruiting some of your kids. So we have been at this for a minute, my guy.
Yeah. I've been trying to, once I told Bill Freeney before he passed away, once a coach, always a coach, but I'm trying to be the GM now.
Okay.
I'm trying to elevate to that point where I can help with some roster reconstruction stuff.
There you go. Yeah, you're still going to be coach to me. One day maybe I'll
always
flip
a coach
in my mind.
Yep. And everybody's always a coach, man. Yeah. Well, let's get into you real quick, and then we'll jump into the reason you're on the show with being a girl dad. What's happening out there in West Virginia? The transition, how was it?
Yeah, it was great. I'd never been out here. Never even visited, to be completely honest, even through the interview process. So my athletic director here, his name is Ren Baker. Ren hired me many years ago at Northwest Missouri State on one of my Division II stops. And that relationship kind of helped through this and just kind of believing in him and the vision. And I was actually at the Final Four watching the national championship game when I think the offer came in. And literally, I think the next day I went and told my team and went through that emotion at Stephen F. Austin. And then the next night, I think we were on our way to West Virginia for the first time. And this place is special in so many ways. The people are fantastic. The Mountaineer faithful that's a legit thing. Like, they love their Mountaineers in this state. And, we don't have pro sports. We're the only Power Four in our state of about 1.8 million people. So we get a lot of people that care and passion, and our attendance has shot through the roof. And obviously we've had some success. So really excited. Families adjusted really well. The kids and wife, that was a big piece of it, as you know, when you make these transitions. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit, but once they got settled, Dad was much in a better place too.
Yeah, no, I when you made the move, I saw it when it was happening a couple of years ago, man. I was so happy for you in making that move, and I knew you was going to be successful there. And I just like, well, Mark's going to have to. One of the things I thought he was going to have to do was get acclimated to some of those East Coast stuff, because you're coming from the West Coast. I mean, from the South, and getting acclimated to all these clubs out there, Team Takeover, West Virginia, building relationships with all those type of people in order to recruit. So how's that going?
Yeah, no, it's going well. And that you're exactly right. That was going to be a big piece of this. And, our proximity to a lot of places, our state doesn't produce a ton of talent in West Virginia, but we're 3 hours to the DMV, 5-ish hours to Philly, New York. Obviously, Ohio is talent rich. Pennsylvania, just to the north, Pittsburgh, we're about an hour and 15 minutes to Pittsburgh, and, Western PA. So, we're in a really good location. Most of our ties were not to this area, though, to be completely honest, but certainly have worked pretty hard to get to know some of those programs, players, and we're doing all right. We got a DMV kid coming this year. So we got one. Wow. We got our first one. So we're making moves here a little bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Ron on the show over here. From Team Takeover and Quentin Samuels. I'm kind of tied in with them a little bit because of the history that we, chopping it up and doing it like that. But I think that for me, I knew you were going to be successful there and we got to get on to your daughter. It's not about Mark.
Well, we can talk about me for a little bit. We don't need to get on her head too much.
I knew you were going to be successful because of the principles that you coach by, and I've known you over the years, and being a defensive first coach. It was just really, for me, was finding out, can he get the talent that he needs to play the style that he likes? JJ, I think you inherit a heck of a guard there. I don't know how you're going to replace her, but you inherited JJ. And I think now going forward into this new Big 12, it's just going to take some more players of that caliber, and you're going to have to get the staff out to do that. Is that your same feeling on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a pro, and we thought we had a pro, when we took over, and that was one of the priorities, was to keep JJ and the rest of the crew intact, because it was a good, solid crew. I was the third coach in 3 years, though, so you never know what's going through their heads. And we've talked at length about JJ staying through 3 coaching changes and on and on and on. But other kids did too, and they bought in, and the system fit their strengths. So I had a little Mike Carey system in me, and then Dawn Plitzowite, who left after a year to go to Minnesota. And so, she was motion offense and this half court defense, and Mike was a little more pressure. And I kind of put in a little bit of both of those philosophies. But no, I think you're right. I think part of what I was interested in when I got this job was, could our defensive system and the way we play transition to the Power Four, the Big 12 level? And obviously it has. And the irony is I've never actually thought of myself as much as a defensive coach, even though that is a lot of what our identity is. If you ever watch me play, I wasn't the greatest defensive player back in my day. And so it just kind of,
but as Trish,
we built it, based on some of the things that I believe in, and playing freely on defense and the steals and turnovers and letting loose, some really good athletes. But when we can do some of the pressing that we do with the Jordan Harrison and JJ Quinterleys of the world, and Kyle Watson, who was just a phenomenal defender for us, here is, we're just putting kids in a position to have success. I think that's the goal of coaches, and it's translated really well, and really proud of what we've done in a couple of years. But you're right, we need to take it to another level.
Yeah. So you're happy right now? You're happy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Happy in every area, whether it's with our on-court stuff.
I know you guys for years, and that's what I meant as far as happy. You like being there. I like recruiting. I got a good staff. I see you brought my girl JG over with you, Grayson. So that's good. She's familiar with the staff, and you got a great staff. Aaron, you got a good staff, and they're tied to Texas, and hopefully some of those Texas kids can see some value in coming up that way.
Yeah, we've had Oklahoma and Texas kids here since we've been here, and it's still the Big 12. So we're getting them back into that kind of footprint of what they've grown up in. And so, I think we have ties in that area. And it's just, this is a national brand, but like the WV over there we go, over that shoulder, that's a nationally recognized logo, and so we call it the Flying WV. But I go through airports and I'm wearing that, just through there, and they don't even necessarily know me as Coach Kellogg, but it's like all you hear, go Mountaineers, and so it allows us to really, truly, I think, recruit nationally to that brand. And when you're playing in the Big 12, lots of doors are open. And really, honestly, Gary, after our first year and that Iowa loss, because just so many people, it was like 5 million people watched that game. I mean, that was really good for us. And,
almost had that one. I watched that one.
Yeah, like we could get about every kid on the phone, but after that one, like everybody would knew about us, and it wasn't like, oh, here's who I am, or this is how we play, or have you ever heard of us? Like people kind of knew, and so that's what's probably changed the most in 2 years. But we're settled in here, kids are doing great, and life is pretty good for the Kellogg's.
Well, good, man. Let's get into some fun stuff, man. So. Is there an advantage to being a head coach at the Power 4 level and having a daughter that plays? We don't know what level KK is going to be at. That has to be determined. But is there advantage as your coach and as a P4 coach, and now my daughter, is it? I think there is. So Is there an advantage for you in terms of where she's going or how she's training, basically, and who you're going to let her play for?
Yes, I think there's advantages to it in lots of different ways. I mean, she's just been in a gym since she was teeny. She was going to camp. When you were supposed to be 5 or 6 to go to camp, she was probably 3 in camp. And so she's just been around it. She's been a gym rat her whole life. So those are advantages when some kids, and like maybe even through COVID, couldn't find a gym. Well, guess what? My daughter always has access to a gym, and that's an advantage for her. And we fully understand that. And she takes advantage of those opportunities that have been presented to her. For me at times, like when there's a non-recruiting period, I guess I get to watch my daughter play, and I'm the only coach in the gym.
Coach in there.
Yeah. And so I tell people all the time, like, truly, you never know who's watching at times. You think you're in a non-live period and you're just out here hooping as a kid. And now you've got Coach Kellogg at West Virginia sitting there, but I'm actually watching my daughter. But of course, there's always people on the other team that you may be getting a look at, or those types of things. So there are definitely built-in advantages both ways for me and for her. And I think you just try to capitalize on what you can.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. The phone went off. I forgot to turn the buzzer off. Well, I'm glad that she's doing well. And has she transitioned into playing ball in West Virginia as opposed to Texas? Because it's 2 different styles of basketball that you're playing. You're in West Virginia, you're playing a whole different part of the country. Trish is running her everywhere. Trish is the better half of this partnership. I want everybody to know that.
I'm not going to dispute that. There's no argument here.
Trish is running her in around Virginia, whatever places. Is there a big difference? Because I've never been on that part of the country. I've heard they had good players there.
Yeah. No, it was different. Kaylee was the one that I wouldn't say struggled, but she had the longer adjustment to moving. But I moved her going into her freshman year of high school. She had played on the same, with pro skills and out of Dallas for several years before that, and had the same friends for 8 years in Nacogdoches, Texas. And so she
Yeah.
just had this vision, as any kid would at her age at that time, that I'm going to go to high school here. This is who I'm going to play with. I'm going to stay on this AAU team that I was having a lot of success with. And then dad kind of rocked her world and said, yeah, we're moving to West Virginia. I don't know who you're going to play for, but there's this West Virginia Thunder team last year that was pretty good. And now she's with Sports City Angels. And so we've tried a little bit of both here. But yeah, the high school talent, obviously different. Everybody compares it all to Texas. And I don't know if there is a comparison to what they do in the state of Texas and the level of talent. But Kaylee's played in 2 state championships here, lost in both of them, unfortunately, but she's still been in 2 and been first team All-State both years, and just had a really good, high school run through her first 2 years. And she'll be a rising junior next year, and hopefully they can figure out how to win one.
So how do you balance? You got on the road. I already know how you balance, but I want the people to know that's because, like I said, he married up is how he balances. But how do you balance it between you're on the road? I'm doing this. My daughter's got games. I got to do this. I want to see her play, but I'm on the road. College coaches is a demanding job, especially at the P4 level. It's demanding. And how do you balance that between that and my daughter and spending quality time, and not to mention your son, quality time there?
Yeah, no, that's the $1 million question, Kerry, and that's the hardest part of my job, if I was being honest, for me. Really, really difficult. And I used to use the word balance too. I've almost kind of turned it into integrate now. I just have to integrate my family and my job, and you just have to tie it all in together, as opposed to like trying to, kind of pick one or change, that just, it was hard. And early on it was balance. And I use that word all the time. And I've kind of just said, man, forget that. We're just going to integrate my family. And like, we had a workout today, and all 3 of my family members were sitting there watching our team practice today.
There you go.
Like, it wasn't one or the other. I'm like, yeah, if y'all want to come, we work out at 9:00, and all 3 of them were sitting there watching our team practice in our second summer workout, of the year. But that was hard. It really, truly hit me though. A year ago, we were getting ready to play Kansas State in the Big 12 tournament, and Kaylee was playing for a state title, and I was not there. And we tried like heck to be able to get me to this state championship game and to time it and all the stuff. And we just could never get it to quite work out. But yeah, you sacrifice a lot. That's what's hard. And we can, we'll talk about the next steps and maybe, coaching her in college or whatever, I'm sure, coming up. But yeah, I've missed. And that's really, really hard. But yeah, I've got a great wife who, I guess I always joke with her, you knew what you signed up for, because she played collegiate basketball. Her dad was a high school coach. Both of her brothers played Division I basketball. So we knew what we were signed up for. We have this sign in our living room that says, we interrupt this marriage for basketball season. And we used to take it up and down during actual basketball season. Now, years ago, that thing just stays up. Like, it just stays up because this thing never stops.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's good stuff, man. So you're integrating. I know Aaron Velasco says he makes sure his son's on all the trips. That's a good word for it, integrating. And Aaron said that he made sure his son gets to be a part of it. He ran out for his son's a football player, so he's young, but he got a chance to run out with Ohio State to the game and out the gate. So he integrated them in his family. So you dads out there, there's a nugget that Mark just gave you guys. He's integrating it. So what lens do you look at when you're evaluating Kaylee, man? I mean, do you take the dad lens or do you have the coach's lens on? And what level do you see her playing at?
Yep. Another good stuff. Good questions. I think I have a pretty good grasp of being able to do both. I do think I look through maybe one side as a dad lens and the other side can be the Coach Kellogg lens and try to evaluate her. I would think my personality would tend to evaluate her harder than I would even other people. As my daughter, we don't talk a ton of basketball, or when she finishes, I'm not the one that goes at her or talks to her about the game a whole lot. I let Kaylee ask when she wants to, or if she wants to watch film. I've presented, hey, I will always go pull up Synergy with you since I have access to that. Another advantage, I guess, about being a coach is we can go pull up that. And now there's analytics with that. So we can go show the numbers and look at your efficiency and those types of things. And Trish obviously played too, so she can give her advice, and it comes but still kids, like, even though Kaylee's my daughter and I think I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing, like, I think she's like a lot of kids. If somebody else told them the same thing I told them, they might actually listen to whomever the other person is.
And you told them the same thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't think she's a lot different than a lot of other kids in that respect, even though she knows, who we are, and she's very respectful about it. But there's times, I can tell she's like, yeah, whatever, your dad, as opposed to, no, this isn't dad talking. This is like you're a college basketball coach trying to tell you what I think you can work at. And then the second half of your question, her level and where does she fit? I think she's got a chance to be a great player. I think she's as skilled and shoots it as well as probably anybody in the country. Athletically and size, she's not going to be, off the charts. Athletically won't be the quickest or fastest. So we've talked a lot about using her mind, using the, coach's kid kind of mindset that she has to her advantage. And so I think she could play at any level that she wants. Her role may be different at certain levels. And so I think that's what we're working through right now, is to figure out what role are you okay with as a freshman? Do you go play at the highest level, but no, you may not play as much. I don't know, or do you want to go play at a mid-major level and maybe you get to play a little bit more? And, the way the rules work in this transfer portal era, where transferring is not as frowned upon maybe as it was years ago, or just didn't happen as much. I don't know that I think we all understand that now as college coaches. That's the way
what they were in.
But what I do hope happens for Kaylee is that she gets recruited, that they just don't assume that she's going to play for me. Like, that's what I really hope. And we get that a ton. Everybody's like, oh, your daughter played great, but I know she'll just go play for you. I'm like, whoa. Like, we don't necessarily know that.
Did you put that out there to these coaches, or have she said that, hey, look, I'm open?
Oh, yeah, no, as much as we can. Yeah, we try to dispel that line of thinking. And I understand it. I would probably assume the same thing if I was recruiting somebody's daughter. And but it happens a lot. Happened a ton in this last weekend, or last viewing period a couple weeks ago now. Like, Kaylee had a great game and hit like 6 threes, and there was people there. And obviously when they put it together, like, holy cow, what's she going to do? Or, man, she played so well. And then I realized I put 2 and 2 together, and now she's going to go play for you. And that's when I'm like, no. If you like her, please reach out. Like, we don't know what she's going to do. So just recruit her like you would any other kid. And that's not always going to happen. She's going to get fewer opportunities. And I think she understands that.
Do you want to coach her and have her under that pressure? It's a lot of pressure for a daughter to pay for a dad. It is. If I've coached my daughter just in club, but on the college level, it's probably, I don't know, Vic Schaefer and his daughter coach, it's probably pretty tough on a college level if a kid wants to do that. And I guess Krista and what's Krista's daughter's name?
Gerlich.
Yeah, we go back there, and that's tough. Does she understand that that's something, it might be not too much pressure, but you really don't need to have that pressure. You can go somewhere and be who you want to be, and just go and be who you want to be.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I think she understands it. I think she gets it. I think that's what we're working through, and we don't have to have that decision quite yet. The part of me that wants to coach her is because what we already talked about is how much I've missed. And that would allow me to be in every practice with her. I would watch every one of her college basketball games. Like, that's for me though. Like, that would be selfish a little bit on my part. I don't have to be the guy that coaches my daughter. Some parents are like, I just want them. I got to coach them. I'm the one, I could allow somebody else to coach my daughter. I would not have a problem doing that.
In college, right?
Yeah, in college. Yeah, in college. Yeah, like, I'm not above that by any stretch. I would like to get to watch her play though live, and of course now we can all do it, stream it, so I'll get to watch her, but I would like to be there to watch as much as I possibly can. If she goes somewhere, obviously I'll miss plenty of those as well, but I think my wife could probably get there. So I think we got to work through it. What's that?
ESPN Plus. That's how I watch a lot of Quincy's games.
Yeah. And we can do that. And I want her to be happy. That's truly what I want. Whatever she ends up thinking is the best for her. I just want my kid to have a great experience. Her 4 years or 5 years of college should be the greatest time of her life at that point. And that's what I want for her. And if it happens to be for dad, great. And if it happens to be halfway across the country, because that's what makes her happy, then we'll support her.
Well, good, man, because I see that. And both of us had daughters that are at a high level. And I had an opportunity to coach mine all the way through club ball. I didn't coach in college or anything like that. So I still know the pressures of being in college, though. But does she want to play for you? And do you think she wants to get back in Texas? Because that's where her roots are.
Probably a little bit of both. I think there's the intrigue of playing for dad, and not everybody gets to do that. And I think she would tell you the same thing, that we've missed a little bit at times of that father-daughter just because of my job and where it takes me. And, I think we've had that conversation. So I think, there's some intrigue, as I keep using that word, but I think there's intrigue to it, but I don't think we want to just shut the door on anything else at the moment. Where she wants to go, obviously there's roots and, we have family there, but I don't think she has to go to Texas. And if it was up to her mom, she would play as close as probably, like start small and
William and Mary.
like just move it on out, but you never know. Trish would tell you the same thing. We want our kid to be in the right situation. If I was recruiting certain players, I'd tell them the same thing. If you find the right fit close to home, then I think you should go there. If the right fit takes you, if the right fit takes you across the country or wherever it takes you, then that's okay too. But find just anybody, my kid or anybody I was recruiting. If you find the right fit, then that's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, that was it for us too. So do you think that I'll give you a tip too. They come back after 20. You say you miss all this time. I think it gets better when they get like 25 and they have nothing else to do. The relationship between the dad and the daughter at 25, man, I'm loving it right now.
Are you good for you? Yeah.
At 20, because at the beginning, all this basketball, we're fighting and we're trying to get this thing right. And you're not doing it right, Dad. You're doing too much. As a young adult, man, it is nice. It really is nice. So
they probably grow to appreciate it a little bit more. And that's when it starts to hit home. Like all the stuff you told them all along that they probably fought you on. Now they're like, oh yeah, that's what you were talking about, Dad. Now I understand what you've been telling me all this time.
It's a great relationship at that point, man. Yeah. So you got that to look forward to, man. So is she still shy? Because I know when I first met KK, I had to drag words out of her on the microphone. She got to get used to getting on the mic.
She's certainly better. Like that's still one of we tell that story actually quite a bit. He tried to interview her years ago and pull her to the side, and she couldn't answer. I don't know if she could tell you her name. She got so scared behind that. And Kaylee, so Trish, honestly, Gary, made her take lessons. Like she went through these kind of classes on how to communicate, how you interview, those types of things. And Kaylee is probably so embarrassed that I'm even telling that story, but she wasn't very good at it. Yeah, but her personality,
start practicing.
Yeah, but her personality, she's not an overbearing person. She's not always a take charge, center of attention. Some of that, we've challenged her. She needs to be that. And I even tell her on her, she goes to those showcases, or sometimes you just go play, she'll defer a little bit. I'm like, no, go get, you're a point guard, go get the basketball. But in those things, the bigger personalities typically go get the ball, regardless of position. That's what they know, and they're the personalities. And Kaylee doesn't have to be, and sometimes that absolutely is a detriment to her, and she's got to continue to work through that.
Oh, man, you know what? You just gave me another question I want the dads to know and to get on. Do you think that those showcases and all the stuff, we talked about this a couple of years ago about some stuff like this, but do you think that those showcases and all these tournaments and all of this, is it important for a kid, a player, to have to do that? Or is there a different avenue that they could take? And I'll tap into something else I want to talk to you about too, about that other avenue.
Yeah, you're, I wouldn't say you're going to get me in trouble, but no, let's have that conversation. No, I think for the most part, it's good. I think what we always get into this discussion about what we do over here in America, though, versus what they do, internationally or in Europe, and those kids practice 5 days a week to play one. Maybe two, but a lot of times it's 5 practices, 4 practices for one game. We, a lot of times, are the absolute and complete opposite, where we don't practice at all, and then we show up and play 5 games on a weekend. So I think how do we find the balance in general would be, what I would love to see. Is there value to some of the showcases and those things? Yes, absolutely. There can be value to that, and you're playing against some of the nation's elite. You get to figure out, where do I stack up? Obviously, if they're viewing periods, you might be in front of college coaches. You may be in front of some of these evaluators that can spread the word if you have a good weekend. I think as social media influences, ramped up over the years, that becomes a little more important too. When you can get out there on social media and be seen, or create these little videos and send them off and get eyes and ears and, in front of other people that maybe weren't there. So yes, there's good to all of it. I think we've lost our way just a little bit here, but I know it comes into the almighty dollar and and money and those types of things. And I think as we continue to work through that, maybe we can find a balance that we all get the best out of it and we keep the kids' best interest at heart.
Got you. I had a little technical difficulties on my end, man.
You did go away for a second, but you quickly got it figured out. Your IT department got that figured out quick.
Yeah, IT, my producer in the back there, man. So yeah, but no, I get it, man, and I do believe that showcases are valuable in certain extenses, and like I said, we could talk about that off screen. We've had conversations about that, but getting ready to land this thing, man, I want to talk to you about one subject, and I was talking to another girl, Dad. We got two more questions, and do you think there's a correlation between a pro, just like what you said about Trish played D2, she did this, her dad was a coach, I played, not even on a professional level. On the boys' side, you see it's happening, where you see all the pro dads are turning these players in. I go watch their kids, and their kids are pretty darn skillful, and they got a grasp of the game, and they're playing it a certain way. And those parents that don't have that background, kids, not to say they can't play or they don't have the ability to play, you can see the difference. I can see a difference in a Kate Harpering and a couple other kids when Matt is coaching her up. And I can see a different type of pro dads coaching their daughters or training their daughters or limiting them to where they're going to play at. They get frustrated saying, nah, you guys don't know what the hell you're doing. I'm not letting my kid play for you. Is there a correlation between that?
Probably. Yeah, I think so. I think you asked me about some advantages that Kaylee has with me being a college basketball coach. I think, they might be a little bit different. I haven't really been fortunate enough to coach Kaylee or her teams a whole lot, but my wife, has coached her a lot when they were younger. So I haven't got to do that side of it. When she was younger, I trained her more than I do now. We don't really honestly do that a whole lot at this point. And she's kind of got her own other trainers that take care of a lot of that for her.
You trust them?
Yeah. I think as long as I think she's making progress, I think with anybody, it's okay. We're working on all this stuff, but how does it translate to your game?
Over to the game. And that's the gray area.
It is. And so that's always the question. That's always what I want to see as a dad in that situation is, okay, Kayla, this is cool. And you're doing this and we're paying this amount of money, but I need to see kind of the fruits of the labor when you actually go tip the ball up. And I think she's getting better and better, and she just loves it, and she works hard and she puts in the time. And, like I said, we'll watch some video from time to time too, and talk it through, which is an advantage for me because I can talk it through at a level that other parents maybe don't have that lens and that experience to see. And, you talk about a Harpering coaching his daughter and being around it. Yeah. He played at a high level. He's got a brain and a mind that would be different than just
Gilbert.
Dad. And that's just, that's how it is. And that's okay. But sure. That would be an advantage as well.
And I try to tell parents that, and I'm not trying to put dads down that don't know basketball, but, and I know how expensive trainers and coaches and all that stuff could be. And you could kind of derail a kid, or not, her projection won't go as fast because of you don't have the right teaching skill sets and the time. I put in a lot of time with Quincy, man. So I put in a lot. So I can imagine a guy who's working every day, 9 to 5, getting up, got to come home and train her and get up at 6 and do all that. So I do understand that part of it. So I think there's a coalition in those type of players. So
I don't think it would be any different though than a dad that was an accountant or had his own accounting firm or law firm. Like their child would have a great insight into whatever that is. And there would be
stop that, because my son is over in California, Mark, at an accounting firm working an internship.
See, there you go. See, so he's learning a little bit, I hope.
He can't. He's not no hoop for him, Mark.
Yeah, no, he's learning though. He's learning probably every day over there.
Yeah, he's doing the accounting firm, man. Yeah. So let's land this ship, man. And all my typical question to a lot of dads too. I always want you to give one dad a nugget, Mark, a good nugget. Say, hey, look, if you were with this daughter, if this was my daughter, and this is what we went through, and I'm a coach and I'm in this space, here's a nugget for you dads coming from a P4 coach.
Yeah, I think it's to let the kids still be the kids. Don't live vicariously through them. We all, I think, for the most part, as parents, want them to have as much success, but I think sometimes we get in the way more than we realize that we are. Or you see the parents, the game's not even over, and they're already at their kid about the game or the wins and the losses. And, honestly now, like, and I'm as competitive and we want teams to win, but like when we go recruit games, like I don't remember who always wins the game, like as a college coach, like I just don't, it's not about that. I'm evaluating kid and talent. I would love for them to be on successful teams. And there is something to that. I'm not saying we just don't look that way, but I don't remember the scores of a lot of summer games, or what you won or what you lost. It's, how do you treat people? What's your character? What's your interaction with your parents as a college coach? Like, yeah, we're watching parents over there on the sideline. Like that is a legitimate thing that we do. I want to see how they're acting and what they're doing and what do they go do right when the game's over? How's that interaction with their child? Like all of that is really, really important. You may not think that it is, but I think to me, it's like, man, I just want these kids to have the experience. I want them to love it. I think when they love it, they'll work a little bit harder at it.
Sure.
And I think parents, dads, like we get so maybe caught up in kind of just wanting it so much or living through them that we're actually a little more detrimental to the process than we're probably trying to be.
Absolutely. And, for me, Mark, I said, once I found out that my kid loved the game to an extent that I loved it more than she did, I was like, well, you got to love it. I don't have to. I love it. Yeah. I'll meet you right where you're at. And it was great from that point on for me. And I try to tell dads that, man. So, yeah. Man, I appreciate you coming on because I know how busy it is sitting in that suite. It ain't even the office. It's a suite with a fireplace and a shower and all of that. It's like, man, it's better than SFA, huh?
I don't know. SFA built a brand new one, a few years ago. It was pretty nice.
I know. I visited there when they were almost done. Remember, you had me on the unofficial.
Yeah. I think I was in it for a year before I left. So Coach Bishop now he's got it made too. He's living large over there. But yeah, it's mostly work here. It's mostly work though in this office. But we do have some great facilities. There's a little plug for all those people that are going to listen to this. We do have some great facilities that people need to come check out. There's something pretty cool.
You got some facilities. Come out to West Virginia. All you Texas dads who's out here looking at the show, don't forget to look at Mark Kellogg. He's from Texas, and all these other people, man. It's a great place to be, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, I know your time is busy, so
you're good, man. I appreciate the time.